Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage your Vice President of Global Leadership Services, Shannon Bible.
That's where you are the future. I say you.
Good morning. I'm so excited to be here with you today. What a beautiful crowd and what a beautiful day for some recognition. Am I right? So, as part of my responsibilities in my job at doTERRA, I get to help a lot with recognition. And recognition, we're very crazy about numbers. So can I share some numbers with you? Okay. So on Tuesday night, we held our annual celebration gala. How many of you were there with us? Yes. We had over 12,000 attendees this year, which is the most we've ever had. We also were able to recognize 175 new diamonds, 65 new blue diamonds, and 17 presidential diamonds. In addition, we recognized 5 new double diamonds, 3 double blue diamonds, and 1 new double presidential diamond. It was a beautiful night, and many wonderful people were recognized. Today, we're recognizing our newest silver, gold, and platinum leaders who have achieved a new rank this past year, yeah. Today, we have 880 new silver accounts, 523 new gold accounts, and 221 platinums. These leaders come from all over the world to be recognized today. This morning, we'll also be recognizing our latest and most recent Diamond Club graduates. How many of you here have participated in Diamond Club before? It's an amazing program. It's an intense 4-month program that really helps its participants take their businesses to the next level. The Diamond Club graduates walking today come from 12 different doTERRA international markets throughout the world. Each person walking represents thousands of lives changed, if not tens of thousands. That's why numbers are important to us in recognition, because of how much each person walking this stage today represents. Are we ready to meet them? All right, let me introduce your newest doTERRA leaders. Thank you.
Silvers. Qualifications to achieve the rank of silver. Have at least 3 personally enrolled elite wellness advocates. Each elite wellness advocate needs an organizational volume of at least 3,000. Total monthly organizational volume is over 9,000. Since convention last year, over 4,505 wellness advocates achieved the rank of silver for the first time. The global number of doTERRA Silver Wellness Advocates is now 15,963. Congratulations to all of our new silver leaders.
Please welcome to the stage our new silver leaders.
It started with the whisper, and now it's
Advocates is now 15,900.
and now it's when I kissed her. I live to see the day when it
Of a broken heart. I don't wanna hear you lie tonight. Now I'm stronger than I've been before. This is the part.
Silvers.
no more teachers. A good time. Hey.
National volume is over 15,000. Since convention last year, over 1,605 wellness advocates achieved the rank of gold for the first time. The global number of doTERRA Gold Wellness Advocates is now 4,812. Congratulations to all of our new gold leaders.
Please welcome to the stage our new gold leaders.
How long a time is left? You order something. Get up now.
You say hands up, here I am. Starships when
I drew a broken. You drew a.
I'll do I'm gonna play. Show the room what you
When you blow cold.
can, baby, tonight. And I'm hanging on.
Delapaska. Second prize winner, Lilia Zata.
This morning, I'm going to talk for
Congratulations to our Diamond Club. Please welcome your founding executive, president, and chief financial officer, Corey Lindley.
Good morning. Wow, I love the recognition, the energy, the excitement. It even makes a finance guy get excited. This is great. You know, it's great to recognize all these people, but there are so many of you that work so hard. We really appreciate all you do. Thank you so much for all that you do. We hope you've had a wonderful experience here this week, and that with all we have planned this morning, this afternoon, it's going to be another great day. This morning, I'm going to talk for a few minutes about who doTERRA is, how we make decisions, and then I'll conclude by talking about where we're going in the future, adding to what Dave, Emily, Doc, Greg, and everyone else has talked about over the last few days. You know, as you know, doTERRA is a privately held company that was founded in 2008. We're in our 12th year of business, and we've accomplished a lot in the last 12 years. We continue to be the world's largest essential oil company. We have more than 3,500 employees around the world and more than 8 million customers. And with that, we have over $1 billion in assets as a company. Those assets are primarily inventory and co-impact sourcing investments that are focused on supporting growth for decades to come. As a private company owned by 7 individuals, we don't answer to public shareholders or others who have reason to control what we do as a company. Yeah. But I will say we do have stakeholders who have a strong vested interest in every decision that we make. These stakeholders can largely be categorized into these 3 categories. You, our leaders and customers. Next, our employees. And then our wonderful and amazing growers. We take the interests of these stakeholders into account in every decision that we make. We're always asking questions like, what impact will this have on our growers? Or how can we better take care of our employees and their families? Or how will this impact our customers and sales leaders? Be assured that supporting you, our employees and our growers, is at the very top of our list of priorities as a company. Let me give you some examples. My wife Janice and I love to meet our customers and leaders at events like these or maybe sitting on a beach on an incentive trip. I remember 4 or 5 years ago visiting for several hours with Damien and Jenna Fonte. Yes, we love them. We talked about how much they loved and appreciated their involvement with doTERRA Essential Oils. Jenna was all in, and she was ready to quit her job at that time as a pharmaceutical sales rep, and Damien was wondering if their future with doTERRA including a role for him. I assured him that it did. It's been wonderful to see Damien and Jenna grow together as they fully committed to doTERRA and are now successful Blue Diamond leaders impacting thousands of lives for the better and raising a great family. Yes. Also, a few months ago, Janice and I met Paul and Nina Wood along with John Erik Kvamme at an event in Norway. Yeah, Nina's from Norway and moved to the U.S. and married Paul many years ago. Now, because of doTERRA, Paul and Nina are able to spend time building their business both in the U.S. and in Norway. I also love meeting amazing customers, like a former Major League Baseball catcher that I golfed with a few weeks ago, and he told me how Deep Blue extended his professional career as a catcher because of the constant knee pain he experienced later in his career. It was helped by Deep Blue. And guess where he learned about Deep Blue? You guessed it, his mother-in-law, right? He told me that he thought she was a crazy woman for many years, and now he realized that she knows what's best. At the same event, I had my picture taken with one of the world's best golfers. And when he found out I was involved with doTERRA, he introduced me to his wife, who loves doTERRA essential oils. And she ended up wanting to have her picture taken with me to share with her family. So anyway, I'm reminded again and again that doTERRA is about changing lives. And that begins with our focus on having more and more customers experiencing the life-changing impact of our oils. This chart shows that over the past 12 years, this is in 3-year increments, it shows that we've added more and more new customers, with it now being well over 1 million new customers every year. In your world, it may seem like everyone knows about doTERRA, but I'm here to tell you that's really not the case. In a recently conducted study that we just got off the press a month ago, we found that only 8% of the population in the U.S. could name doTERRA unaided. In this same study, it was determined that about half the U.S. population has tried using essential oils, but only 13% use them regularly. The study indicated that the major reason why essential oils are not more used is because of a lack of knowledge of how to use them or uncertainty about their use. Our education and healthcare initiatives that Dr. Hill and Dr. Osgothorpe have been talking about and they are helping us and you be able to expand this opportunity and explain the use of essential oils. Clearly, helping you better educate and inform customers is the key to continued success for doTERRA. Next, we have our employees. We continue to add hundreds of new employees every year as we relentlessly support our business. Each of these employees are important to us, and we've built a beautiful new campus that Dave showed some pictures of. It spans 120 acres, and by early next year, we'll have 1.2 million square feet of workspace. It's remarkable. Our employees are a bit younger than our customers, but they're prolific and are having children. And at a recent summer party, we took over 6,500 people to the movies in Utah County. And you can see that by this picture, they all had a great time. Yeah, we support these amazing employees with a child care center, a medical clinic, a gym, a cafeteria, and we even have a robust scholarship program at nearby Utah Valley University for our employees. Yes. In recent years, we've been able to fulfill a dream of ours to take care of our growers, and we consider them our third stakeholder group. This is a very unique differentiating point for doTERRA. No other company comes anywhere close at caring for the growers and their families like doTERRA. In our pursuit of what is pure, taking care of growers and treating them as stakeholders is essential. You've seen that we now provide more than 165,000 jobs and nearly 540,000 lives are impacted in this growing network. In a few minutes, we'll have you meet a few of these growers. But let me just say that taking care of them is the right thing to do. Yes, I can assure you, as a finance guy, I can assure you it would be much easier and much less expensive to just purchase a few farms or to buy through some brokers. But if we did that, we wouldn't be able to help the most or grow the best, which is our goal. Let me offer you a few examples. Last year, I was in Kenya, and I met many of our growers and their families. When visiting with this woman near a borehole or a well that we had dug for the growers in the Lunga area of Kenya, I learned that she was walking 4 hours round trip once a week to get drinking water for her family. I was confused because just the prior year we dug this borehole and this well, and so I questioned why she was having to walk so far and why she wasn't using that water. She told us the water from the borehole or the well was a great blessing to them as they used the water in cooking and cleaning, but it was a bit too brackish or salty to be used for healthy drinking. I discussed the situation with our on-the-ground team, and including Jacob Katuva, who's an expert, a PhD from Oxford. And he said the best solution, not the cheapest, but the best, was a $40,000 reverse osmosis treatment device connected to the well. We immediately made the decision to install the device, and now this woman and her neighbors will be saved from walking 4 hours each day to get fresh drinking water. You know, working with growers and focusing on their needs is the right thing to do. Give you another quick example of Douglas Fir, our operation in New Zealand. We began working with Michael and Maturin several years ago on this project and harvesting and sourcing and making productive use of the invasive Douglas fir trees in New Zealand. However, as we worked together, we found that financial challenges arrived for them through a partner group threatening the future of this project. And so in order to fully support Michael and Maturin in their vision and continued mission to solve this challenge in New Zealand, which we were committed to, we invested $400,000 in distillation equipment that is now owned 100% by doTERRA. And this way, Michael and Maturin can focus totally on Douglas fir harvesting and distillation without the overhang of problematic partners, and this project will continue for years to come. Again, working directly with growers or artists and distillers who are at source and on the ground is the right thing to do. I want to spend just a minute talking about Copaiba. Copaiba, as Mark talked about yesterday, a little bit of this when it's the Healing Hands Initiative. You all know the amazing benefits of Copaiba and how it's not only more effective and more cost-effective than CBD at managing pain, which you'll learn a little bit about later this morning, but it also has an amazing sourcing story in various communities along the Amazon River in Brazil. These communities are in great need of medical care and support. Emily and Dr. Heel visited this region a year or two ago and promised these amazing harvesters that if they would focus on continuing to sustainably harvest Copaiba, not only would we ensure they received more than fair and on-time payments, but we'd help with other needs in their community. Just this last summer, with the support of our Healing Hands Foundation, as Mark talked about, our sourcing teams, Ben Platt and resident humanitarian expert Bishnu Adhikari, traveled to this region with 2 dentists and met up with our sourcing manager who lives in Brazil, Eric Paranki, and they've performed over 100 dental procedures in the 12 communities along the Amazon River at no cost to the beneficiaries. Again, being on the ground and at source with our growers network is the right thing to do. Not only are we making a huge impact with these growers and their families, but through our amazing sourcing team, we're reaching out to growers all over the world as we continue to source the best while helping the most. This is, again, significantly more expensive and difficult way to source oils. However, at doTERRA, we don't do what is easy or inexpensive. We do what is right, and it is to help the growers. I might add that there's another benefit to all of this, okay? By working with these growers and in caring for them, we're also able to arrange exclusivity in procuring our oils. We continue to increase the exclusivity and proprietary nature of doTERRA essential oils. As we look at all of our essential oil offerings in both blends and in singles, we can now definitively state that 98% of our oil offerings are proprietary formulations and are exclusively sourced by doTERRA. That is great. What this means is that when another company says that they have the same oils as doTERRA, they've lied, okay? But not only have they lied, they've disrespected, ignored, and really even trampled on the backs of everyone in our stakeholder group. Yes, they've tried to capitalize on your training and education of customers about the benefits of essential oils. They've often copied trademarks and trade names. But most of all, they've disrespected those that grow and distill quality essential oils. I'll be really honest that this really bothers me because our team works relentlessly with tens and hundreds of thousands of growers to improve their lives. Those that try to cheat their way to success by capitalizing on these growers and on you without actually doing anything for these growers, they are lowlifes, okay? And they're going to get their just reward, okay? Just for doTERRA, just rest assured we're not going that route. We'll always do what we say, and we do it because it's the right thing to do. All right. Okay, I need to calm down for just a minute, okay? Okay? And I need to get back to my presentation. So how has this strategy of supporting our key stakeholders worked out for us? Well, very well. This is our revenue growth chart over the nearly 12 years of our existence, okay? These are in 3-year increments. We continue to grow every year, and over the last 6 years have experienced an annual compound growth rate of 21%. We now have offices in 19 countries all over the world, and through our Global Access program, we have active customers in more than 139 countries. In every single market in the world, our business is moving forward in strong ways. We are market leaders everywhere. We are growing and developing as a company, and with that growth, we've all grown and changed for the better, each of us. When doTERRA was started 12 or so years ago, this is what my family looked like. It's a picture of my wonderful family of 10, our 8 children, my wife and I, as it existed back then. Well, things have changed a bit, okay? And this is what our 17 grandchildren now looks like, right? You know, as my family has grown, my focus has turned to what the world is going to look like as my beautiful grandchildren grow and mature. But not only my grandchildren, what about your children and grandchildren? What about the children and grandchildren of our employees and our growers? As I'm out traveling to various countries in the world, I love to look in the eyes of the children of our growers and think about and envision what the future holds for them. They and their parents have hopes and dreams for these children. I can't help but want to do all I can to ensure these hopes and dreams are fulfilled. Whether it's these twin boys in Africa or this beautiful girl in India, these children and their parents have hopes and dreams, and doing our part to help them come true is what doTERRA is all about. So as we look to the future, where are we heading? We know where we've been. We know what we've accomplished. But what about the next 3 years, the next 6, 9, 12, even 30 years? What's it going to look like? Of course, it's hard to be certain of the future because we live in a changing world. But as we look to the future, I want you all to know that we're working relentlessly at doTERRA to prepare for what is going to be a very bright future. I was recently with some university students who asked me what I do every day as the president of doTERRA. I think that they feel like if I'm not filling bottles or answering phones, then I'm likely just wasting my time, right? Well, as I thought about how to explain to them what I do each day, I thought of 2 things. First and foremost, my partners and I spend our time focused on the future. We envision, discuss, strategize, and plan for what doTERRA is going to be like in the future. We spend most of our time several years out and help our teams catch the vision of what the world will be like and how we'll need to adapt to that reality. Second, my partners and I solve problems. We have a vision of where we're going, but in the midst of that, we make mistakes. And we may have a package destined for Melbourne, Australia that ends up in Melbourne, Florida, right? Or we have a bottle of root-to-tip serum tip over, right? And break adding serum to the root of the box that was shipped in, right? Or sometimes we receive scam emails trying to get us to click a link that's going to connect us to bad guys. With our growth, I can assure you that there are an abundance of challenges that we get to solve every day. But I don't want to deal with the challenges today. I want to focus on the future. Now, I'm not a fortune teller. I can't tell you who's going to win the Super Bowl or the National College Football Championship or the NBA Championship, but I do have opinions on any of that if any of you are interested in a different setting. Anyway, what I can tell you is that we see trends happening in the world and we're preparing to deal with them. Let me highlight 4 major trends and briefly explain how we're preparing to capitalize on these trends. These 4 trends are more online ordering, more concern for the environment, more concern about healthcare, and more concern about purity. Let me talk briefly about each of these trends and what we're doing in each area. First, more online ordering. What I like to call the Amazonification of America is not going to go away, right? We recognize that customers want to easily order their products and want them delivered immediately. We continue to spend tremendous resources on making our ordering more and more convenient and delivering products more timely. We now ship products out of Hawaii, and we'll start doing it in Alaska within the next month, which by the way also helps with our carbon footprint by shipping long distances in bulk. Additionally, we spent more than $80 million in enhancing our IT infrastructure to provide the latest and greatest in online ordering simplicity. These enhancements have been or will be rolled out in the US, Europe, Canada, and Australia within the next 6 months, and other countries will follow. Clearly, making it easier to order and delivering more quickly are significant priorities to us. Second, more concern for the environment. Yes, I want you to know, I'm not sure you realize everything we're doing on this front, but we have a lot happening and more to come. Whether it's locating our sourcing team members closer to the regions where they work so we have less flight time, reducing our carbon footprint, or working on using the biomass from our distillation process to fire the boilers at source around the world, we're always considering our carbon footprint and the impact we're having on the environment. You may have read last year that even at this very global convention, we were leading the way by being the most environmentally friendly convention ever held in Utah, okay? We recycle the vast majority of things used at these conventions and repurpose other items. It's not about saving money for us. It's about pursuing what is pure and doing the right thing. Those of you in Canada may have started to notice some changes in our packaging material used to you in shipments. As we prepared some of these changes, okay? In Canada, we surveyed a group of customers and found that environmentally packaging is very important. We've been shipping in environmentally friendly ways in Australia and Europe for several years. We've now added this to Canada, and the US is coming online within the next 6 to 9 months, okay? We have a big ship to steer, okay? But we're steering it in the right direction. Environmentally friendly changes will continue to come. Finally, packaging decisions are made about our products. When we do that, we always ask if we can come up with the most environmentally friendly solution possible. Of course, we want to have a quality presentation, but protecting the environment, and yes, avoiding plastics where possible, is a top priority. You'll notice more glass in our convention products, and even the reusable carry tote. These are conscious decisions towards more sustainable packaging. We're often asked about our glass bottles and having them recycled. We've done the research on this and found that if we had a massive return program, bringing all the empty bottles back, we'd do more damage from a carbon footprint than positive. However, helping you know where you can recycle the bottles yourself can and will be done. In the coming months, you'll see helps on our website that will direct you to the nearest glass bottling recycle centers in your area so you can be agents of change and help the environment without adding more shipping. Yeah. Third is more concern about health. As you've seen from this convention, all of the change about health is right up our wheelhouse, okay? Prime Meridian is all about helping the world know that essential oils are a significant part of the solution to the healthcare challenges, and we're perfectly positioned to continue out on this front. You've heard enough about this, but stay tuned because there's a lot more to come in the next year or two that's going to benefit all of you, all right? But isn't it great to have so many doctors heavily involved like we do? Don't you love the doctors panel? Yeah? And how about this quote? Dr. Osgathorpe said yesterday, adulteration is criminal, right? What a great quote. And that leads into my final point, more concern about purity. doTERRA is the most tested and most trusted essential oil brand in the world. We live in a world that is all about transparency. We see public figures being brought to task for indiscretions. We see companies being called out for not making truthful claims. At doTERRA, our answer to this is bring it on. Bring on the scrutiny, bring on the questions, bring on the skepticism. But just be ready. We just ask those that bring it on to be open to what they'll find, all right? As stated in the video Dave showed, we're relentless in our pursuit of purity. There's a great Warren Buffett quote that one of our vice presidents used in a meeting a few weeks ago. The quote is, "It's only when the tide goes out that you learn who has been swimming naked," right? For a variety of reasons in recent months, I've had conversations with CEOs of companies selling essential oils, the majority of which are adulterated. A few of them, the minority, have been alarmed at what they're finding out, but frankly, most of them don't really care. In fact, one CEO told me that selling pure essential oils in retail or online is a futile effort because, in his words, people don't care. Well, at doTERRA, we have millions of people that do care, and we believe that there are millions and hundreds of millions of more that care. They just don't know the truth. Well, from this animation, what will happen in the coming months and years, the tide's going to go out, and the public's going to know the truth. And guess what? They'll know that at doTERRA, we have modest, beautiful swimming suit, while the majority of others, including the cowboy in the back, are figuratively swimming naked, right? In the coming days, weeks, months, and years, doTERRA is going to continue to change the world. We're doing it one drop, one bottle, one person at a time, and we thank you for being part of this amazing journey. Yes. A journey that has just begun, and a journey that's going to eventually encompass the whole world. Thank you for joining us. Now, I want to introduce to you a great human being, the person who leads and directs our sourcing team and our global network of growers. He's going to help us better understand the difference that is doTERRA as it relates to the pure sourcing of essential oils. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Tim Valentiner.
Keep your head up, keep your heart strong. No, 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 no. Keep your mind set, keep your head low. Oh my darling, keep your head up, keep your heart strong.
Wow. Thank you. I love hearing Corey speak, and everything he has the same presentations, but I must admit it's pretty intimidating having to follow up directly after him, but I'll do my best. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today. We were here yesterday, but here we are today, even though it is Friday the 13th. I'm not superstitious, so hopefully that doesn't change the outcome of today. I'm especially excited too to be here with you, but most excited about some people in the audience tonight is my wife, Christiane, and our 4 children, Layla, Mason, Estelle, and Audrey. They might be playing hooky from school today, so if their teachers are here, I'm sorry. You should be at school too. We were just able to hear from Corey the important reasons of why doTERRA sources the oils the way we do, And I want to focus for a little bit on how we source these oils. But first, I'd like to highlight this amazing photograph, which you'll hear actually a little bit more about later from one of our growers. This is a women's cooperative with which we are working in Odisha, India. I love this photograph, not just because of the amazing women in here, their beautiful saris and the natural setting, but mostly because of what's represented. Women, small farmers, being empowered through co-impact sourcing to improve their own lives and the lives of their families. And I'm eager to come to work every single day knowing that lives of small farmers, just like these women, can be greatly improved through growing essential oil crops. And as a result, our lives are improved through the pure and natural oils they produce. But let's dive into sourcing for a few minutes. The strategic sourcing team objectives are to source the highest quality pure and natural essential oils in the quantities needed to sustain your needs and growth. We do this through formalizing and keeping long-term partnerships with farmers and distillers around the world who share our same vision, and we call this our Global Botanical Network. And you will actually get to meet a few of these, actually a lot of these, in just a few minutes today. As we work closely with these partners, we benefit from their multi-generation expertise while also supporting hundreds of thousands of jobs around the world, like Corey was able to show our latest numbers of over 538,000 jobs being created and supported through this. Our sourcing commitment is to ensure the sustainable supply of pure natural essential oils while also making a positive difference in the lives of farmers, harvesters, distillers, and their communities. And basically, all of this can be summed up in two priorities, which you've heard Corey and Emily and others talk about: sourcing the best and helping the most. So where are we sourcing? This is our map that I know everyone loves to see each year. We source over 130 different origin essential oils from over 45 countries, more than half of which are developing countries, which is where we love to be able to help the most. This updated sourcing map highlights the oil locations for many of our oils, but of course there are some oils not shown here, as we do like to keep some proprietary secrets, as you can imagine. But it helps to illustrate just how extensively we are working to source the best from all over the world. You'll notice the different colors on the map too, with some countries in teal or blue, and then others in green. These are the countries where we have co-impact sourcing initiatives happening with environmental stewardship and or poverty solutions, but more on that in just a minute. The team overseeing this effort globally is shown here. I feel so privileged every day to work with this inspiring group who come from so many different backgrounds. Our team is working tirelessly day in and day out to ensure that we can keep up with all of you, which really is not an easy task. On literally any day of the year, someone from our team is somewhere out in a field, literally, and usually in a faraway corner of the globe, ensuring we are sourcing the best and helping the most. But what I am most proud of is that we are not only the most diverse team within doTERRA, but also about the fact that more than half of our team members are either originally from or living in the regions from where they're working. This is critical. And we truly mean it, like we talked a lot about on the panel yesterday. We really mean it when we say we are at the source. This is a unique doTERRA differentiator. No other company is devoted to the same level of resources and commitment for ensuring that we can have the very best quality essential oils which our customers expect, but also a commitment to positively impact the lives of the small farmers, distillers, and communities. Another way in which we are actively securing our future and meeting our ever-growing needs is through extensive supply chain investments and even equity partnerships with other partners who share our unwavering commitment to pure and natural essential oils and to co-impact sourcing. To date, we have now invested over $130 million in our supply chains, and this continues to grow every single month. Now I want to focus a little bit more depth on co-impact sourcing itself. We are often asked, what does co-impact sourcing mean exactly? Our team has spent a lot of time thinking about this, nerding out on the theory and the philosophy and the mechanics. And we now have a new and improved definition and diagram, which I am very excited to unveil today. Would you like to see it? All right. This is our definition. Co-impact sourcing creates shared value for all shareholders in the supply chain by being at the source and intentionally implementing environmental stewardship and/or poverty solutions. I know that's a mouthful, but we really try to pack it in there. As is hopefully evident, we spent a tremendous amount of time and effort and resources in being at the source for our oils and working closely with partner farmers and distillers. This is a cornerstone of how we are truly different as a company and how we can ensure that what we say is in the bottle is really in the bottle. Pure and natural CPTG essential oils. And while this remains a lofty goal for far too many companies, as Corey highlighted, this is the foundation of what all you expect from doTERRA products. However, for co-impact sourced oils, we are not only at the source, but we are also implementing environmental stewardship and/or poverty solutions. So what do we mean exactly by being at the source? This is about knowing the people and processes involved in an oil's production, knowing the origin, the methods of farming and support provided, understanding the distillation processes. And of all of this, of course, starts with having a deep-seated relationship and trust with our partners, and then have the traceability tools to watch and monitor this. For environmental stewardship, we are focused on sustainability, but also intensive programs to ensure that we are not only complying with national and international standards, but also innovating in how we preserve wild harvested plants that mitigate the spread of invasive species, reduce our environmental footprint overall, and providing training and tools for our harvesters and distillers. Yes. One key environmental stewardship program is in Hawaii with our Kealakekua Mountain Reserve, or KMR. Many of you have already visited KMR when we hosted 500 wellness advocates at the incentive trip in January. How many of you were there? You all got to plant some trees at KMR. This coming January, how many of you are planning to qualify for the incentive trip and visit us in KMR? I'll see you there. I can't wait. KMR is a nearly 9,000 acre land reforestation project on the Big Island, focused on preserving and restoring the native forest of Mauna Loa. This is a new video that explains a little bit more, which we are excited to unveil today.
It's a massive, massive project to reforest Iliahi. And doTERRA is really committed to doing it right, to not just planting the Iliahi, but really restoring the entire forest.
For centuries, our ancestors were a part of nature. We're connected to them through the Aina and the sacred responsibilities, or kuleana, to restore what has been lost.
Look up this hill a little bit, you'll see a bunch of koa coming in naturally before we've planted. Once the Iliahi and the koa can loosen up the grass, then the other ones have a chance to come through just like that.
When we look out at this landscape here, it's been changed over time, and it's exciting to think that when the next generation and after them come, that it's going to be a forest again.
We're 3 generations here. Our Mo'opuna, my son Keahi, my Hunona Jordan, and myself. We're here as an ohana.
We're just trying to instill good practices for our ohana, so that 30 years from now, when you start seeing this project really flourishing, they'll understand the importance of it, and other projects like it as well.
So KMR is a tremendous amount of work. But as you can see, we are doing a massive reforestation effort, and by the end of 2020, KMR will have planted over 155,000 trees over 565 acres. We're committed to it because even though it's a tremendous amount of work, it's the right thing to do. And as stewards of this land, we are committed to the preservation, restoration, community, and wise use. As we undertake this large-scale reforestation initiative, we are focused on regenerating native forests and the wise use of iliahi, or Hawaiian sandalwood trees, and other resources to ensure that we have Hawaiian sandalwood oil for generations. Without it, it would not be possible to have this oil. As part of this stewardship, we are actually planting 390 sandalwood trees for every one tree that would be eventually harvested for oil. This is sustainability. It's beyond sustainability. Now let's shift to poverty solutions as part of co-impact sourcing. These are programs where we can help the most as we source the best by focusing on small farmers and farming cooperatives in developing countries. For example, we have been excited to share in past years, and again this year, all we are doing in Kenya with our partner Fair Oils. The co-impact sourcing program there is incredible and literally lifting thousands of farmers and their families out of poverty. And this will just continue to grow. We're also working closely with harvesting communities in Nepal for wintergreen and spikenard, but also turmeric. Through these co-impact sourcing initiatives, we are able to empower remote communities through training on best practices, providing seedlings and other inputs, giving fair and on-time payments, as well as facilitating social impact projects funded through the doTERRA Healing Hands Foundation, some of which you were able to hear from Mark yesterday. With these co-impact sourcing initiatives in Nepal over the past 5 years, we've been able to directly impact more than 238,000 people through jobs created and supported, as well as with the reach of social impact projects funded in these sourcing communities through the doTERRA Healing Hands Foundation. This is more than $2 million that's been donated to date just for social impact only. Also, more than 30,000 girls and women have benefited through the Powerful Days for Girls program, and this will also only continue to grow. What's also exciting is that nearly 1,000 wellness advocates through the years have now been able to see this firsthand in Nepal by participating on a co-impact sourcing trip, living and working on social impact projects in these amazing harvesting communities. How many of you have been on a co-impact sourcing trip with us? Yes, please come. There's no better way to see firsthand the impact that's happening and to participate. This model of how we are approaching ethical sourcing is truly changing and innovating not only the essential oil industry, but as supply chains in general. Just a couple of weeks ago, Bishnu Adhikari, our co-impact sourcing director, and I had the privilege to present at the 68th annual United Nations Civil Society Conference held here in Salt Lake City, and talk about co-impact sourcing, along with two of our key NGO partners, Choice Humanitarian and Mentors International. The co-impact sourcing model is innovating in how a responsible company, partnered NGOs, and conscious consumers like you can align all of our goals to improve livelihoods and end extreme poverty. What is super exciting is that of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that were set by the United Nations General Assembly in 2015, we are directly addressing 11 of these 17 goals through co-impact sourcing. This is amazing. We are transforming for good how essential oils can and should be sourced, which has definitely been disruptive to an industry that has been around a long time, and we are here to be agents of change in a positive way. I think all of us here are positive disruptors, right? This is how we are changing the world, and we'll continue to do so. We have summarized our vision and approach for sourcing the best and helping the most in what we call our 8 sourcing guiding principles, all found on source2u.com. They are first, generating jobs; second, providing fair and on-time payments; third, building supplier capacity; and fourth, sustaining long-term partnerships with farmers and distillers who share our same commitment to pure and natural oils and want to grow with us. The reality is if we were in company interested in only profit and the easy route, we would not be focused on these principles. I can tell you it would be much easier, given all that goes into oil production, to just buy large tracts of land, build massive commercial farms and distilleries in more cost-effective regions of the world, but that's not our goal nor the way in which we can help the most. We prioritize empowering hundreds of thousands of small farmers and harvesters that are life-dependent on these crops and oils. And through contracting and supporting these distillers that work with them, we are able to provide the opportunity they need to lift themselves and their communities out of poverty. Guiding principles 5 through 8 outline how we focus through co-impact sourcing to help the most, particularly in developing countries. This is through ensuring fair labor conditions, promoting cooperatives, ensuring environmental stewardship, and of course facilitating through Healing Hands and other donor social impact projects like schools, hospitals, clean water drinking systems, and vocational training centers. All critical needs that can help improve livelihoods in areas of the world where we can make a tremendous impact. We are excited to announce that all of these sourcing guiding principles, the new co-impact sourcing diagram unveiled today, the latest sourcing map, as well as some beautifully done co-impact sourcing brochures and much more can be found on the new and improved source2u.com, which was announced by Andrew yesterday, as well as on doterra.com. So please visit often. We're putting our latest and greatest information on here constantly, and we invite you to please come and find these resources to then share them through your education platforms. In closing, I would love to show you another powerful before and after picture taken recently in Kenya. The picture on the left is of a house belonging to one of our geranium farmers before their first ever harvest. Can you guess what the picture on the right is? On the right is their new house under construction shortly after the harvest finished, as he was paid the very same day of his harvest. For this small farmer and thousands more like him and throughout Kenya working on our oils, this is among the first cash crops they have ever been able to plant, let alone have a partner that is training and supporting them to ensure they can be successful. We do this through providing seedlings, which they pay back over time, giving training, technical support, and a guaranteed buyer on everything that they grow. And as a result, these farmers can improve their own lives through growing essential oil crops that we need and they want to grow. And this encapsulates what co-impact sourcing is all about. You can rest assured that you will always get the best through our continued pursuit of what is pure by sourcing only CPTG oils, and we are changing the world and how we source these oils by focusing on helping the most through co-impact sourcing. Thank you for all you do to educate and empower, and thank you for letting our team be a part of this journey as we continue to change the world together. All right, now I am pleased to introduce two of our amazing distiller partners who are going to wow you with their science and art of distillation, as well as teach about how they are working with small farmers in their countries. First, we'll hear from Jean-Marie Meisner, working with us in Guatemala and Peru, and then following Yash Parekh, our partner working in India. Please help me first, though, by welcoming our friend to the stage, Jean-Marie.
Hello. I'm very happy to be here. I'm sure you're disappointed. You were expecting Hugh Jackman, but I can't dance or sing like him, so I'm just here to talk about the science and art behind distillation. I'm Jean-Marie Meisner, co-founder of Nelixia, and we are doTERRA's distillation partner from in Peru and Guatemala. Humanity has always been fascinated by fragrant raw materials and strived to extract the aroma. Frankincense is actually considered the first perfume and was linked to spirituality. The smoke actually was a link between the earth and heaven. It has been traded for more than 6,000 years. Remains of clay distillation pots dated back more than 5,000 years have been found in the Indus Valley in India, where they still produce Mitiata, which is a distillation of clay. It's an earth perfume. On a lighter topic, and to help you use your new doTERRA rose oil, Cleopatra was already distilling rose petals in her famous donkey bath in 50 before Christ. But how do we extract those aromatic molecules from those raw materials? The idea is always to separate light molecules, aroma, from the heavy non-volatile molecules. Extraction techniques depend on the raw material. You can have flowers, seeds, leaves, herbs, wood, resins, and the quality of extract you want to obtain. For example, you have rose essential oil, so the doTERRA rose, and rose absolute, which is different technique. Numerous techniques exist, and I won't start to explain to you everyone. I just want to show you distillation, which is the one which is used for the most doTERRA's products. I'll put a short video on our distillery in Guatemala. Who has been to Guatemala? The others, you're welcome to come anytime. I know we're receiving 100 persons in October or November. So how does it work? First, the raw material is sourced, then, sorry, I think it didn't start. Yeah. First, the raw material is sourced and prepared and put into a still. A boiler generates steam, which is directed into the still, goes through the raw material, extracts the aromatic molecules, and then goes through, you'll see it in a few seconds, goes through a condenser where it cools down. Then it goes into a Florentine, where it separates by simple decantation between essential oil on one side and water on the other side. The oil is then blended, aerated, that's the blending, and sent to doTERRA. New techniques or innovations are always developed, like microwave distillation, for example. The technique seems simple enough, right? But in the real world, it's way, way more complicated because the choices are infinite. First, a successful distillation starts with the preparation of raw material. Here you can have you can distill freshly cut raw material, wilted, dried, then you can cut, macerate, ferment, grind. I mean, the possibilities are really infinite. For example, ginger, you have dry ginger oil and fresh ginger oil, which are two very, very different oils. Iris roots have to be dried 3 years before distilling. And patchouli leaves have to be fermented to increase the level of patchouli into the oil. Preparation is really, really an art. Possibilities are infinite, and even the smallest variation can lead to drastic difference in quality and yields. Now, you think you've just nailed preparation, it's okay, but let's go to distillation. And then again, possibilities are infinite. You can have 100 liter stills, you can have 20,000 liter stills. You can have stainless steel stills, you can have clay stills, like you see in the photos, which I use for petit grain oil. Distillation time can range from 45 minutes for lemongrass to 7 days for Ameris. So really, you can have any kind of variation. And the choices you make will impact the quality and the yield of the oil you'll have at the end. So we talked about the science, but let's talk about quality. And there is where the art is. When you do distillation, you have to deal with the variations of nature. If it rains a lot in Guatemala, we have more 1,8 cyanol in the oil. If it's a dry summer, we have more terpineol acetate in the oil. That's the way it works. Can you go back the video? I'm sorry, I didn't want to launch it. Fine crafting a good essential oil could be the same, I'm sorry, I'm French, as fine crafting a good wine. It's exactly the same thing. We are the... we put the same spirit in it. We test batch after batch, analytically, of course, but also for the smell, the aroma, because we want you to have a consistent and standard and qualitative oil every time. So that's what we do, and that's the art in it. It's a craft, really. It's not industrial. It's really not industrial. So that's how we smell. You've seen Elisa yesterday. But let's not also forget the important part. Distillation has a real impact on environment. I mean, when you distill, you have a tremendous amount of biomass waste and you use lots of energy. So you have to take that into account when you distill and to take measures. At Telexia, we invested in the biodigester that you've seen in Guatemala to treat our biomass waste, to produce renewable energy that we use in the boiler, and the byproduct is also fertilizer that we distribute to our communities. But we can talk hours and hours about distillation techniques and optimization. But the real key here is not everything I've just shown you. The real key is the sourcing. Because you can be the best distiller in the world, have the best techniques, the most expensive equipment. If you have a bad quality raw material, you will have a bad yield and a bad quality oil. That's it. I mean, there is no way around it. So what's the only way to ensure quality and quantity in sourcing? The only way, and the way of the future, is ethical sourcing. And that's why we're so aligned and so proud to be part of doTERRA sourcing and co-impact partners. So how do we do it? How do we do it? We go to the source to identify and map the sourcing areas. Which countries, which regions, which communities, so we can have a fully traceable and transparent value chains for our customers. For pink pepper, for example, we have to go up as 13,000 feet in the Ayacucho Mountains in Peru to have a direct link with the communities. Then, after going to the source, we prioritize which communities and producers to work with. We implement long-term contracts, we implement financing, we strive to understand their social needs. Our ultimate goal is to elevate them to become thriving entrepreneurs like us. We can take the example of cardamom. I think I'm a bit behind. We have a great project with doTERRA and cardamom with the CKB, Vocational Training Center. And I'm sure, just come and visit it and you'll know more about it. And okay, please don't play the video. Stop it, yeah. But also, why do we do it? I mean, why do we at Nelixia have 10 sourcing persons and are working closely with 1,000 communities in more than 1,000 producers in 100 communities? Why don't we buy from collectors? Why do doTERRA have such an amazing team that goes to the end of the earth every day to see each supplier and each value chain? Because it's the only way to go. And I want to show you this video so you can try to have an idea of what's a value chain and why it's so important. It's Peru Balsam in El Salvador. And so why do we do all what we do? For those guys, for those value chains. You can play the video now. So we do it for them and we do it for you to guarantee long-term supply because it's the only way to go. And if you give people dignity and value their work, they will continue to work. In Peru Balsam, in El Salvador, the product was about to disappear, and with our work, we managed to have young people starting again to do that craft, and that would be so bad for it to disappear. Second is to guarantee the quality, of course, and three is to ensure ethical sourcing. How can you know that you have no child labor or no pesticides if you're not at the source? You can't know. There's no way you know. And we're also, lastly, driven by a mission. The mission is to show the world where the raw materials you use in all your products every day really come from, what's the real story behind it. And it's our role to ensure the sustainability of those raw materials and to ensure that all children, your children, will feel the same emotions in the future than the ones we're feeling right now. And to ensure, if we don't do that, the indispensable essential oils will eventually disappear. And together, we have to make sure that this doesn't happen. Thank you.
Thank you. No worries. Thank you.
Thank you, John Marie. As you can easily tell, he is a scientist but an artist all at once in everything they're doing, and we are perfectly aligned and have been since the day we met them on prioritizing the sourcing and the ethical part of everything we're doing together. It's now my privilege to introduce Yash Parekh from India, who will teach us a little bit more about programs they're doing on innovation, working with small farmers in India. Yash.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, absolutely great. Thank you, Tim. Hello, I'm from India. I'm the proud fourth generation in my family working in essential oils. In our family company called Gem Aromatics, you could say, in addition to my livelihood, essential oils form a part of my heritage and family identity. Our family distilleries has had the great pleasure of working with doTERRA for several years now. And from the beginning of our relationship with doTERRA, we have been working along with an NGO called Farms and Farmers to implement co-impact sourcing and sourcing guiding principles with the farmers we work with. We have empowered our farmers, providing them access to proper agricultural inputs, innovative technology, and a guaranteed buyer for their production. Knowing how to empower farmers starts by addressing their needs. In India, there are 70 million small farmers. Most have limited access to agricultural services, quality inputs, or markets to sell their crops. These challenges lead to 30 to 40% higher input cost, wrong information about crop management, and poor logistical support post-harvest, which in turn leads to about 40% post-harvest loss. Ultimately, the uncertainty regarding their production and supply chains are part of why many of these farmers continue to live in extreme poverty. Solutions to these needs can come in a variety of forms, but those developed by an entity called Farms and Farmers have been truly transformative. Farms and Farmers has developed a community-based approach to agriculture called Dihat. This provides a small farmer access to all the resources necessary to be successful. At the heart of this approach is a sophisticated mobile-based technology that I will introduce you to shortly. Together, doTERRA, GEM, Farms and Farmers have been able to provide thousands of small farmers needed support and developed an ethical supply chain that pays fair market prices. Dihat is unique because it eliminates the pain points that most small farmers in India face. How to access the best agricultural inputs, receiving support for their crop, and finding a market for their products. To accomplish this, our participating farmers are connected to a local Dihat center or farmer support hub, which is run by a local entrepreneur who manages the direct relationships. Farms and Farmers then buys the input in bulk to pass along savings to participating Dihat members, generating a saving to them of 10 to 15% on average. Farmers are also given recommendations based on their soil profile, desired crops, location, and historical cropping patterns. Quality crop advice is also typically limited in India. Through Dihat, farmers are given guidance on each step of the process. For example, if a farmer decides to plant turmeric, the Dihat Center manager registers this on the farmer's profile, outlines the areas using a digital map of their fields, and delivers the farmer the correct seeds and other inputs needed to plant. The Dihat system sends regular SMS messages in the farmer's native language, indicating timelines for proper irrigation, the exact quantities of any additional inputs that might be needed, and when to apply them, and when to harvest for maximum yield. Should a farmer face a problem or question during any point in the crop cycle, he or she has access to their local Dihat centers, manager, as well as a toll-free line to speak with an agronomist. This is truly reformative. No one has done this in India for essential oils. So when the farmer is ready to sell, they can sell to whomever they would like. But if sold to the Dihat center, the price, quantities, and yield data is all recorded in the farmer's profile, which allows the system to calculate the farmer's profit. The increased efficiencies from the Dihat model consistently lead to a 50% increase in income of the farmer per year, an amazing result in any business. Dihat technology, this slide shows just a few screenshots of the mobile app that Dihat farmers use. Features include a crop database with an extensive information, a platform to purchase discounted inputs, and receive real-time crop advice, where a farmer can register inquiries and submit photos. This app brings critical service some of the most remote areas of India and brings knowledge and services as a power to small farmers. Also, as a part of Dihat awareness, meetings are extremely important, especially in the first introductory days. We have found it helpful to identify farmers who are progressive, hardworking, to accept new crops and understand challenges they will face. These super farmers become the advocates within their communities, and other farmers see their success. They want to follow their footsteps. The model generates an upward spiral where farmers, Dihat center managers, and stakeholders like GEM and doTERRA can lift one another and create new opportunities for these farmers and their communities. Now, I want to pivot away from the innovations of this model and tell you how doTERRA and GEM and farmers came together to work on a lemongrass initiative in southeastern India, where a few crops are able to grow in the marginal soil conditions found there. These farmers are now greatly benefiting from being able to grow a new value-added crop through lemongrass. Originally, a small pilot project had been done to see what cash crops could be suitable there. It became clear that lemongrass could survive the floods during the monsoon and also arid dry season. Another bonus for these farmers is that roaming cows want nothing to do with lemongrass. Absolutely nothing. Unfortunately for the farmers, however, traditional essential oil traders were not willing to pay the extra cost to ship from the area, so they previously did not commit with a willing buyer. We approached doTERRA with a plan to support these tribal communities through co-impact sourcing initiatives, and the sourcing team quickly backed the project. We began with just a few hundred kilos of oil, but it has done so well that hundreds of individuals are engaged in the project now, many of whom are women. This is a photo of just one of the groups of women who have benefited from the project. Before farming lemongrass, most of these women were just subsistence farmers who had limited opportunities to provide while taking care of their families full-time. Today, that has changed. One of these women, Rukin Hasta, became a widow at a very young age with two small sons, Sibu and Dibu. Her situation left her very few opportunities to provide for her family's financial needs. She couldn't take work outside the village and was limited to farming 2.5 acres with her sons. Despite their best efforts, that income was barely enough for their daily needs, but not enough for the boys to continue their schooling. Worried about her sons, she started working on a farm for additional income, and that's where she learned about the doTERRA's lemongrass program. She enrolled initially for about half an acre, and as she was uncertain and was unsure about how to do it, whether anyone would even buy her crop. In the past 7 months, through this program, her net income from half an acre is now more than $1,000, about 3 to 4 times more than what she would be making previously. She now has plans to expand her lemongrass production to 2 acres. Her sons Deebu and Shiba are now back in school and continue to help Rukin at the farm as needed. When they grow up, Shiba wants to become a teacher and Deebu a farmer. Rukin's example of hard work will be a blessing to them that they pursue their goals. Finally, I want to talk for a moment about turmeric. India provides 90% of the world's turmeric, and it is widely used in Ayurveda and everyday cooking. However, the majority of the turmeric oils currently in the market are basically leftovers of solvent-extracted turmeric, which really do not have significant value in terms of the health benefits. Since there are little quality oil available on the market, we work closely with doTERRA to develop the target profile, and then we set up raw material sourcing and the skills to produce an exclusive, pure and natural turmeric oil not found anywhere else. We worked closely with doTERRA's R&D team to develop a proprietary blend of both dry and fresh turmeric rhizomes, something completely unique to the market. We continue to develop our farmer relationships and are excited to bring benefits of the Bihar model to our turmeric farmers. Thank you all for all that you do to teach the world about pure and natural oils. We work so hard every day to distill for you. We are grateful for doTERRA and their focus on co-impact sourcing, which truly empowers small farmers in some of the poorest regions of my country. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so grateful we could have Jean-Marie and Yash share some behind the scenes. But some of that's a bit nerding out on the agriculture, but you can see how complex and orchestrated this is, but how passionate and amazing the partners we have are about everything we're doing. And it's not possible without these amazing people working so hard that are perfectly aligned with what we're accomplishing. Rukin, the story he told about the lemongrass farmer, this was the story that was actually told by that amazing sand artist on Wednesday. So that was her story that was portrayed in the sand art. And there may be a video coming out soon to help tell the story too. Okay, it's now my great privilege and honor to welcome a much bigger group to the stage with us. Please welcome all of our sourcing team members and grower partners who are here with us this year. Isn't this awesome? Friends, this is the group that is responsible for bringing the most pure and potent oils in the entire world to you. We obviously have more partners that couldn't be here with us, but this is so amazing, and I couldn't be more proud to be privileged enough just to stand on the stage with everyone. Many of them you have met in years past at conventions, some you met this year, and you will continue to meet more of them in coming years. But first I wanted to share some fun facts about our sourcing team's efforts this past year. Over the past year, we tallied up over the past 12 months a few figures. The sourcing team alone, just in 12 months, has flown 1,979,660 miles in just 12 months. That's a lot of time. But the important thing is that it means we are at the source and we are on the ground and we are implementing very hands-on together with these incredible partners to make sure that our objectives are met and that we are always bringing the best oil. That's 1,231 days on the road collectively. But probably in addition to the miles flown and some long car rides, the most interesting fact was actually a 13-hour donkey ride that Jackson had the great privilege of doing in the hills of Ethiopia. Along with this came 9 canceled flights, 10 flat tires, which I think is an understatement. They're probably worth more than that. But grossly enough, 10,112 bug bites, which we documented very carefully. I'm kidding, maybe. All of this means a lot of work to be at the source by an incredible group of team members. On this stage with us today, we have 25 countries represented, 25 different languages spoken from 5 different continents. Our reach is truly global to bring the very best to you. For a few minutes, I wanted to ask a couple questions to 3 of our partners that you may not have heard from in the past. So first, our friend Ashad from Oman, please. Come on, Ashad. Ashad, can you tell us a little bit about frankincense from Oman and its historical significance?
Hello. Frankincense plays an important role in the economy and culture of the Dhofar region of Oman. We work with the harvesters throughout this region and source the raisins and then distill the essential oil from the Boswellia sacra trees. Historically, many cities in the Dhofar region of Oman became the hub for the frankincense trade. The frankincense trade in frankincense. The lost city of Obar is one of the cities that flourished from the trade in frankincense. This trade route delivered frankincense raisins from the Horn of Africa and Arabia to areas alongside the Mediterranean and Mesopotamia. Across many ancient civilizations, frankincense was important for religious beliefs and cultural practices.
Thank you. It indeed has a long, long history. Ashad, as you know, there's been concern, of course, about sustainability of the frankincense forests in all of these areas of the Horn of Africa and Arabia. This has been of utmost importance, as everyone knows, that doTERRA is focusing on through co-impact sourcing initiatives to ensure we have sustainability for these trees. Can you tell us a little bit about the state of frankincense in Oman and all the work you have done over many years to help preserve the Boswellia species in Oman?
A royal decree was passed by the Sultan of Oman in 1997, which has proved to be instrumental in the sustainable conservation and management of Boswellia sacra. successful nursery propagation of Boswellia sacra has played a significant role in the rehabilitation and continuation of Boswellia sacra regeneration. We are pleased to have partnered with doTERRA to create the first and only private nursery which propagates frankincense trees from seeds and cuttings. Our goal is to plant 20,000 more frankincense trees in the next year in its natural habitat. With doTERRA's continued support, this project will help ensure a sustainable source of frankincense oil for generations to come.
Thank you, Ashad. It's incredible the years you devoted in your career to preserving the trees and the oil, and it's so great privilege of ours to be partnered with you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Ashad. Now I'd love to introduce you to Elena. Elena is the Dos Equis guy is the most interesting man in the world. Elena is the most interesting woman in the world. Elena, it's so great to have you here with us again at convention as always. Can you please tell us where you're from and what oils you source for us, you produce for us?
Thank you. It's really so great to be here. I provide clary, sage, cilantro, coriander seed oil, and sweet fennel. And then Siberian fir needle oil. In Siberia, we work with a network of over 200 pichtovas, or small distillers. In the summer months, they collect and distill fir needles using small distillation units. And without doTERRA's support, there will be really very few other opportunities for these pichtovas.
Thank you. Elena's working with so many networks and cooperatives and distillers, and it's amazing to bring oil from the far reaches of Russia to us, including Siberia. We also understand you've been working on another new project. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. In last month, we broke ground on a new farm and distillery in Moldova. It's a small country in Eastern Europe. It's what many people don't know about Moldova, that it used to be a major essential oil region producing essential oils in the Soviet Union. And it's a beautiful country with great soils. But unfortunately, it's also the poorest country in all of Eastern Europe, where the average income is $2,000 per year. With doTERRA's support, our new distillery will bring life, new farming, distilling jobs in rural areas. And I'm really very excited about this project, because by next year, we will provide you with more oils from this region.
Yes. Thank you, Elena. It really is exciting to see. We're grateful for all you've been doing for your home country of Russia, but now in Moldova, where we can make a big difference. Thank you. All right. Emeland they all came out with flags, but I'm a little biased that I really think Albania has the coolest flag in the world, but Emeland, come out. It's great to have you here at Global Convention. It's a big deal to have you here. Remember what happened last year?
Well, I was supposed to be here last year as well, but the night before I was supposed to get on a flight, my kidneys decided to pass a couple of stones, so it made it impossible to be here. I am very excited to be here finally, especially because I have my family here with me as well. And,
yes, this is so fun to have Lauren and Mila here. Emeland, can you, I guess I broke the secret on the Albanian flag. But tell us where you're from and the oils you produce for us.
Well, I am from the country with the coolest flag in the world, obviously. And for those who do not know where Albania is, it is situated in the Balkans, along the Balkan Mountains, and it sits on the coast of the Mediterranean. And we produce some of the coolest oils in the world, including helichrysum, juniper berry, and bay leaf.
Yes. Love Albania. Emlyn, can you tell us what it means to you to be partnered with doTERRA as a distiller?
Well, it definitely is a dream come true. We work with other clients, but it usually feels just like a simple business transaction done over the computer or email. With you, it's a whole different level in many respects. I know that on the other side, there are people that care and they want to know what's happening with our oils and our production. And I have you and Matt that's over there that always email, call, and visit us, knowing how that you can help us improve our business and improve the lives and the relationships that we have with our farmers. I guess the best way to describe this is that we matter.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you. It really is such a privilege and honor for us to be able to work with you and your family through the farmers you work with. Can you tell us just a little bit about what's changed for these farmers? How have they been benefiting in these recent years as you've started to work with them through the distillery we're partnered with?
Sure. The biggest thing is that our partners, farmers' mentality has changed. I used to be the one who would call and visit farmers trying to convince them that they should farm for us. Now it's switched. I have farmers calling me every day asking what they can do and how they can partner with us. Now they trust us even more. We offer them contracts that are longer than a year, so now they have a reason to stay and farm their lands instead of just going to the major cities or outside the country of Albania trying to find work and income for their families. A small farmer that's partnered with us makes an extra $4,000 to $6,000 per year. The average income in Albania, monthly income, is just a little under $350, so that is huge for them. It's
per month, $350 per month, yeah.
We work with a network of over 350 small farmers, as well as many other harvesters, work in the fields and collect in wild harvest plants. doTERRA and the co-impact sourcing has truly changed the livelihoods for hundreds of rural Albanians families. I hope that we can continue doing this. Actually, it's my goal that we can continue doing this for many years.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Emlyn. Albania, we can't wait to show you more about all the amazing things happening in Albania. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please give a huge thank you and final round of applause to these amazing sourcing partners and our sourcing team that worked so hard.
Welcome, your founding executive, scientific and healthcare initiatives, Dr. David Hill.
Thank you. Thank you. It is great to be with you this morning. Did you enjoy all of that information? You know, it's a little bit overwhelming when Corey comes and he speaks and we begin talking about all of the initiatives in doTERRA. And then when we have this opportunity to see and experience firsthand some of what we're doing with our growers and with our partners that way. I loved that he shared with you that they are stakeholders in our company. They have a vested interest with us and us with them. Now, I noticed that one of the things that Tim shared when we had that wonderful group here on stage is that there was more than 25 languages that were spoken amongst that group. Wasn't that amazing? But it caused me to think and to reflect for just a moment. I think in doTERRA, we seem to have one language, and it's the language of love. Would you agree with me? We truly do love them, and we love all of you and are grateful for all that you do to help us in this wonderful and amazing work that we're doing. Now, it's my privilege this morning to spend just a few moments with you and help set the stage for our next three speakers, as well as share a little bit more information with you. Now, you remember over the last year or two, we've talked a lot about Copaiba coming from Brazil. And we've talked a lot about the endocannabinoid system and the value that it brings. And today I want to highlight just a couple of really quick things for you. One is to make sure that we're in the same understanding with some of what we have positioned ourselves as with Copaiba and why we feel like it has great value, but give a reminder of the differences that exist within that essential oil and some of the other things that we hear in the marketplace. Now, one of the things that we all know and that we all now firmly understand about the endocannabinoid system is that it's not singular in its outcome, nor is it singular in the things that it provides for us throughout the entire body. It's not isolated to just one area or one system or one component within the body. And that is significant for us for a number of different reasons. Can I, before I go any further, can I just ask you a question? Did you enjoy yesterday? Did you have the same sense that I did that yesterday we reached a pinnacle? We've been climbing this mountain for a long, long period of time. And yesterday you got full view and full purpose of why these types of discussions are so critical within doTERRA. And more importantly, I felt very grateful for yesterday. It wasn't a moment of validation for me. It was a moment of deep and sincere appreciation. Can we tell all of our doctors, all of our scientists, all of our partners that we work with in this way, the hospitals and the universities, can we share with them just our gratitude and how much we appreciate all of their great, great effort that they do for us? Now, let's talk about the cannabinoid system again just real quickly. Now, one of the things that is unique about it is that it does help us to normalize a lot of body systems and a lot of body functions. Now, by normalizing body systems and functions, you saw that Mark put me in a headlock the other day after I was done speaking. I'm not going to be any more careful today. It turns out he's not very strong, so I'm okay. I think I'll be just fine. When I talk about normalizing body systems, I really want you to understand what it is that we mean when we say that. We know that every single one of us in one way or another are going to have specific challenges in terms of our health. And those challenges are going to come to us in a variety of different ways. You've also heard lots of discussion over this few days talking about one of the biggest challenges that we face within the body is the need for us to be able to control and have proper inflammatory responses. When we don't, I thought Dr. Riggs yesterday gave you a great example of many of the outcomes that we see when those systems are not supported properly, when we don't have the strength that we need, the resiliency that we need within those types of systems within the body. It was somewhat sobering to realize how effective and how massively that affects each and every single one of us in this room today. The endocannabinoid system is part of your body's defense system for all of those things that were discussed yesterday. And so it's important that we have good, proper stimulation, utilization of that system throughout the body. Now, these are the things that you always hear about with the endocannabinoid system. This is what all the excitement and enthusiasm is about. There's another part to the endocannabinoid system that I think we overlook, that we don't really talk very much about. And that is that it creates a space of homeostasis within the body. Now, I know when we talk about homeostasis, we always seem to be talking about the neurology of the body, specifically the autonomic nervous system, parasympathetic versus sympathetic, fight or flight response, rest and digest. Homeostasis is more than that. Homeostasis is how your body interprets information. It's the experiences that we have. It's mood, it's emotion, it's appetite, it's energy. It's all of those substances and those systems and components of how our body functions combined together. And in one way or another, the endocannabinoid system has effect and influence within that. And so it's critical that we learn how we can best support that functioning within the body. Now, last year I had a great opportunity to speak with you a little bit about some of the differences between CBD and with our Copaiba essential oil. I had to laugh this morning. Somebody reminded me that you said that Copaiba is supposed to be pronounced Copaiba. Well, it depends on what part of the world you're in. Who do we have here from Brazil today? Copaiba. I'm speaking directly to you. And that is what they refer to it there in their home country, so I follow their lead. So let's talk about CBD just for a moment. Now, I know that there remains a lot of enthusiasm, there remains a lot of energy, there's a lot of individuals, maybe even here with us today, who have some excitement about this essential, well, it's not an essential oil. It isn't. But who have a lot of excitement about what is being called an oil. Let me share with you two really quick points. Just give you something to think about. First, CBD oil, we've made it abundantly clear that while we're not necessarily opposed to the idea and the concept, has some challenges that remain for us here at doTERRA. And so I want to restate our position that we are not providing this for you. And the reason why we are not is because there are some analytical challenges. One of the things that you should have learned yesterday in our pursuit for purity is that we do a lot of analytics. And there are some analytical challenges in that we don't see consistency, and we do not want to invest in that consistency. The other thing that we see is that there's some regulatory challenges. We talked about this. We said in spite of a lot of individuals being willing to move this forward and to share this, there are regulatory challenges. And in our pursuit of being pure within this company, we will follow and adhere ourselves to those practices and regulatory environments that demand that we do so. And we're not willing to take any risks that way as a company. We will not do that. Corey this morning shared with you that you are our primary stakeholders in this company. We are working to protect you in all elements of that, including this one. But perhaps the most primary reason why we are going to hold to our position of not providing this for you at this time is because it does not meet our CPTG standards. And I really don't care, and I think I believe I speak for all of my partners, regardless of what the trends are in the marketplace, regardless of what everyone else says, we will not go against our own standard. Now, that brings me to another point. Perhaps one of my favorite discussions of convention this year has been quack, quack, quack. I'm going to get Greg Cook a shirt that says quack, quack, quack. I took that point to heart when I heard that, and I realized something. We need not concern ourselves with what everyone else is doing. We're in a circumstance where we are doing something different by design and by choice. And that difference leads us into a different type of discussion in doTERRA. And so when we look at an oil like Copaiba, it's not just another essential oil. You've learned that we put tremendous amounts of thought and energy into the purpose, the use, and why that becomes so valuable for us. In this case, here we have 4 very individual species of Copaiba. We have blended them together. Not only does it give us uniqueness within this product, and it stands as a differential between ourselves and every other company who might even offer Copaiba, it allows us to have different outcomes. It allows us to accentuate the real value that we see within the essential oils themselves. Now, one of the key and unique things that we see within this essential oil is, of course, this is probably my only chemistry discussion in this entire convention, is going to be because of the sesquiterpene content. Nearly 100% sesquiterpenes. We have an oil that has great complexity because of that. And you need to understand, or you should know, that some of the oils that we represent to you don't have the same complexity. Complexity of oils comes from the chemistry. Complexity of the oil comes from how that chemistry interacts and responds within the body. The more complex the chemistry becomes, in some cases, the more broad the stroke can be for the value and the benefit that we receive. In other cases, the more complex the chemistry, the more specific and the more focused we can be. And in this case with Copaiba, because of this high concentration of sesquiterpenes and because of the complexity of that chemistry, we receive some very specific benefits. One, we have higher metabolic potential. It means the outcomes and the benefits we receive from this essential oil has an expectation that is very high, partially because of how it interacts with the endocannabinoid system, but partially because of the diversity of that chemistry, multiples of pathways and outcomes that we can influence. The other thing that we see with an essential oil that has high sesquiterpene load, and this is one of the things that I love about this essential oil, is we get longer lasting benefits. It's not just a one and done usage model. Many times when we use an essential oil that has great complexity, it gives us the ability to have, of course, primary metabolites, primary metabolism. But then there can be secondary and tertiary metabolism and metabolites that each individually do more good and allow us to carry and continue the effect and the benefit that we're receiving. So yes, I'm stating with you one more time, we are about Copaiba. Yes, we are doing that above and beyond anything else in the marketplace. Yesterday, you heard me talk about how wonderful and amazing and how excited I am about the turmeric duo cap. But you remember at the end of that conversation, I said one of the things that we should partnership with that new product is the use of Copaiba because of the value that it brings to us. Now we know some other things about Copaiba that allow it to be differentiated. And by the way, these are qualities that we see in nearly every single essential oil. We know that, for example, we have a complete oil profile. When we look at something like a CBD, where we have a isolated molecule that's then put into a carrier oil, and that's why it's called an oil, that's different than when we have a complete chemical profile, like what we see within the essential oils. And remember that the essential oils behave differently than any other form of botanical or any other form of natural medicine that we might be exposed to. The other reason that we see that is because we have direct receptor activation. This has been something that doTERRA has been focused on for some time as we unfold more of the mystery of essential oils. We're beginning to understand where and how they work, the pathways that they followed. And I've got to tell Dr. O, thank you for all that he shared with you yesterday in exposing to you some of those pathways and some of the things that we now understand that nobody has ever seen before in the world. Now, I found this interesting. There are more than 1,000 studies that have been done currently on Copaiba. And one of the things that's been noted, which is, in my opinion, very important, is that small amounts of this essential oil can create great benefit. Long-lasting, sustained benefits you've already learned as well. From just 1 to 3 drops seems to be sufficient to activate the endocannabinoid system. Seems to be sufficient to have this interaction with the receptors and to have the downstream effects and benefits that come from that in multiple outcomes. Now, it's my privilege. We thought it would be interesting, rather than just restating our position and talking about our strategy with Copaiba, we thought it would be good to give you a little bit more information today. And so I'd like to take a moment and introduce to you 3 gentlemen who I have a tremendous amount of love and respect for, and introduce them to you. Let me first introduce to you Dr. Tim Lee. Now, you might remember Dr. Lee from last year. He came and he shared with you a lot of research that we've been conducting with one of our research partners, Roseman University. Dr. Lee is a PhD. He earned his bachelor's degree from Chicago, UC California, Berkeley. And then he earned his PhD at the University of Chicago. And then he served a prestigious fellowship, postdoctoral fellowship at Purdue. He's very accomplished. He's become a great friend. He's become a great pursuer of purity with essential oils. And we have him here with us today, and he's going to share with you his work over the last year and what he has been doing to understand more about Copaiba and specific pathway. So I'm very excited for him to come and share some information with you. An individual who I consider to be one of my dearest and closest friends is Dr. Andrew Goff. He's a member of our medical advisory board. I met him several years ago, and what I've learned about him is that it's hard to find anybody who is more dedicated, more focused, more prepared for patient care and the usage of essential oils and overall concepts of health that we share and that we teach here in doTERRA. Now, he's very accomplished. He's a board-certified emergency room physician. He's known as the oil doctor, and there are people who go to the ER just so they can see him. I don't know, maybe they fake injuries. I don't know what they do. I just gotta go. Is Dr. Goff in? No, okay, I'm fine till tomorrow. He holds simultaneous degrees in sports medicine in chemistry and in psychology. This explains to me why he's trying to analyze me every time I speak with him. And then finally, I'd like to introduce to you a gentleman by the name of Scott Johnson. In a short period of time, I've developed a tremendous amount of respect for Scott Johnson. He's an expert in natural medicine. He's wrote more than a dozen books that are bestsellers on the subject of natural medicine, healthcare, and on essential oils. I consider him to be an expert with essential oils, and he is a new member for us here at doTERRA, has joined our team for education and for sciences. I'm thrilled to have him here with us. Will you please help me welcome to the stage our good friend and great partner, Scott Johnson.
Hello, doTERRA family. How is everyone? Thank you for that warm welcome. It's a pleasure to be with you here today and to be able to take just a few moments to share with you about my favorite essential oil, Copaiba. Now, since the discovery of the endocannabinoid system in the 1960s, there's been a great excitement about molecules and substances that can interact with this system and activate it and produce a physiological response in the body. And two of the most studied of those molecules are beta-caryophyllene from Copaiba and CBD. But I'm going to share with you how Copaiba does some things that CBD can't. And so why it's one of my favorite essential oil. So because they work within that same system, people naturally want to compare them. But I tell you that it's not really a fair comparison. And the reason I say that is because Copaiba is the essential oil that's extracted from the Copaifera resin, from the Copaifera trees and the resin they produce. Whereas CBD is a plant extract that comes from the cannabis plant, which is often mixed with a carrier oil like an olive oil. So they're both valuable tools and have a place in your wellness toolkit, but the reality is that Copaiba has some advantages and has some benefits that we maybe can't achieve with CBD. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that the FDA is still currently evaluating CBD's place and determining its long-term effects when we use it cumulatively, as well as its effects in some special populations like the children, the elderly, and women who are pregnant and nursing. So we still have some more to discover about that. Before we have this discussion, it's important that we understand what the endocannabinoid system is. This is a system of enzymes and receptors and molecules that helps to maintain homeostasis. And Dr. Hill just explained to you really well what homeostasis is. So what this does is this system helps to stabilize the body so that we can have greater periods of homeostasis. It predominantly has two receptors. The first is called CB1. These receptors are found within your central nervous system or your brain and your spinal cord, but they're also located in other areas of the body, such as your eyes and your blood vessels. Now, the other receptors are called CB2. CB2 receptors are predominantly found within your immune system and immune-related organs, such as your spleen and your tonsils. But this receptor is not just found within your immune system, it's actually found throughout the body and in major organs such as your heart and your liver and your lungs. So because of that, it can widely influence our body as well.
Now, there are molecules that can interact within this system, and I'm going to talk to you about 3 groups of these molecules. And the first are called endocannabinoids. These are cannabinoids that are naturally produced within your body, and they are meant to interact with these receptors that we just talked about. In addition, you will find phytocannabinoids. Now, these are found within and produced by plants. So these are in the plant kingdom. We know that cannabis has cannabinoids within it. The plant does. But it's not the only plant that has cannabinoids. We've actually now identified several plants, including things like liverwort and black truffles, and even the cacao plant that have cannabinoids within them. And then, of course, essential oils that carry beta-caryophyllene within them, like melissa and black pepper, and of course, copaiba, which has the highest percentage of this beta-caryophyllene within it. Now, the third group are synthetic cannabinoids. These are produced by man in a laboratory, and they were originally produced so that we could better study the endocannabinoid system, because they have a strong ability to bind to these CB1 and CB2 receptors within the system, which allows us to better study the structure and function and activity and location of these receptors. So that's why they were created. The last part of this system are the enzymes, and the enzymes help us maintain optimum levels of those endocannabinoids that our body naturally produces. And they do so by creating endocannabinoids from fatty acids that are within our body. Now, if we have higher levels than the body needs to use at that time, then they will actually degrade them back into a fatty acid so that the fatty acids can be used elsewhere within the body. So now we get down to some of these advantages that I promised I'd share of copaiba. Number 1 is the direct activity on the CB2 receptors. Beta-caryophyllene selectively and directly binds to and activates the CB2 receptors within the body. And so when it does so, you get more rapid cellular effects because of it. On the contrary, if you look at CBD, it really doesn't have a good ability to bind to either CB1 or CB2 receptors. And so it doesn't have a direct activity, it has an indirect activity, and you can anticipate slower cellular effects within the body. Price is another huge factor, because if you go out onto the open market and you buy CBD right now, you are going to pay thousands of dollars per kilogram for it. So it makes it very expensive to get a beneficial dose into your body. On the contrary, copaiba is very affordable and costs less for a beneficial dose. Now, I want to emphasize this third point because it's really important, and Dr. Hill alluded to this already with the analytics that he talked about. A study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association in 2017 tested multiple CBD products available on the market. And they found that 69% of the products on the market did not have the concentration of CBD in the bottle that was on the label. So in other words, we have an adulterated or a mislabeled CBD product 69% of the time. Now, even more alarming, the same study found that multiple of those products actually had higher levels of THC than are currently allowed according to federal regulations, some of which were high enough that they could produce a mind-altering effect in certain individuals. So there's a purity issue that we have to consider. Some other advantages. Safety is another one. When you look at the safety of CBD, it's being investigated in clinical trials. And as scientists and medical professionals have investigated it in clinical trials, what they have noticed is that the people receiving clinical doses used are experiencing elevated liver enzymes. Now, what does that mean? That means there's a potential harm to the liver occurring because of them taking that CBD. If you look at beta-caryophyllene instead, it's generally considered safe, non-toxic, tolerable, and has a very wide safety margin. Now, another thing, legality. Dr. Hill mentioned this too, but legality, even though the federal government has relaxed some of the legislation or the regulatory environment for CBD, some states still have more stringent and strict regulations in place, making there a conflict between the state and the federal governments. And the FDA currently, because they are still completing their investigation on the safety and the effects of CBD, has not created a regulatory path for CBD to be sold on the market yet. Complexity is another thing that we can talk about as an advantage for Copaiba. When you extract Copaiba essential oil from the resin, you generally end up with about 100 compounds within that oil, almost all of which is sesquiterpenes. If you extract CBD from the cannabis plant, you will end up with a total of about 32 compounds, and it's almost entirely CBD with only trace amounts of the other 31 compounds in it. So this greater complexity means we have an ability to have a more diverse and complex effect on our wellness with Copaiba. Now, the other point is pathway. Copaiba and beta-caryophyllene don't exclusively work within the endocannabinoid system. In fact, because of the study that's been done on this great molecule, we know that it works on multiple pathways, genes, cell receptors, and proteins found within the body to affect our overall well-being. And I'll talk about some of those here in just a moment. So I want to talk about CBD because I'm not saying that CBD is not a tool or not a good thing for us to have available, but what I'm saying is it's not used without some limitations. The indirect activity of CBD means that you can expect slower cellular responses. In fact, because CBD does not bind really well to either one of the receptors within the system, it tends to act more as a helper molecule that signals the endocannabinoid system to work more efficiently, and in some cases helps to modulate our responses to other molecules that do directly bind to that. So that leaves us with an indirect and slower response and activity. Now, the other thing I just want to mention that's a limiting factor of CBD that we know is in humans, when they ingest CBD, we tend to absorb only 6% of what we ingest. And so if you were to take 100 milligrams of CBD, you actually are excreting 94 milligrams of that CBD and only absorbing 6% into your bloodstream. So that's a lot of waste. Now, the CB2 receptors have become a major target to regulate immune and inflammatory responses in the body because they are located abundantly in our immune system. But that doesn't limit their effect there because these CB2 receptors are also located within our digestive tract and in major organs of the body and in the bones and the muscles. When we have a substance like beta-caryophyllene that can directly activate these, it helps to regulate and promote healthy brain, musculoskeletal, cardiovascular, digestive, and overall cellular function within the body. So here's where I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the pathways, the genes, the receptors, and the proteins that we know beta-caryophyllene works on outside of the endocannabinoid system. Those that are involved in our overall cellular health. Those that help regulate our inflammatory response. And I want to pause and just explain that for a minute because sometimes when I say we want a healthy inflammatory response, people look at me and go, I don't want any inflammation in my body. But the reality is, if you did not have inflammation in your body, you'd be dead. Because we have to have inflammation for our immune system to work properly. We have to have inflammation for wound healing to occur properly. So we want a little bit of inflammation, but we just want to maintain that healthy range and a healthy inflammatory response. We can also promote healthy organ function. We can promote body comfort. That's a huge thing that we use Copaiba for. Many of us have realized those benefits. It helps to support memory function and cognitive function. How many of us here want to keep our cognitive abilities and memory function as long as we can? I'm sure we all do, right? It's involved in pathways that help to maintain lipid regulation. It helps influence our cellular antioxidant defenses. In fact, it activates one of our major intracellular antioxidant defenses called NRF2 that helps protect us against cellular damage caused by free radicals, and also is involved in the longevity of our cells. And when we use, we also know that it will improve virtually almost all body functions, because proteins are a major component of cells. And beta-caryophyllene interacts with the expression of multiple proteins found within our body. Now, I wanted to briefly mention that scientists have already started to investigate now other essential oils and how they might influence the endocannabinoid system. Those that don't have any known phytocannabinoids, or have very small quantities of beta-caryophyllene. And one example of that is lavender. Recently, scientists discovered that lavender inhibits the enzymes that break down or degrade those endocannabinoids our body naturally produces. So what does that mean? That means more of them are available to the body for the endocannabinoid system to use. Now, I'm convinced as scientists to continue to evaluate essential oils and how they work within the endocannabinoid system, we're going to find a diversity of essential oils that will affect this influence, activate it or influence it, and will do so in a diversity of ways. So I know I've talked a lot about the science of what Copaiba and beta-caryophyllene do. So what's the takeaway? What does this mean, right? What does this mean for us? Well, first, we know that it's going to support a healthy inflammatory response in the body. It's going to aid cardiovascular, immune, digestive, brain, and respiratory system function. It's going to reduce worrisome thoughts. Anybody ever have worrisome thoughts? Well, one of the ways I found that this works really well is to put 1 or 2 drops just directly under your tongue. That's a great way to help reduce maybe some worrisome thoughts. Maybe some of us speakers maybe want to be putting Copaiba on our tongue right before we come out, right? It improves the appearance of I've skipped one. It supports healthy female reproductive function. That's something that we're just beginning to understand, but has huge potential. When we apply it topically, it helps to reduce the appearance of blemishes and improve the appearance of the skin, and help restore stressed skin as well. Another huge benefit of Copaiba is that science shows us that it improves the absorption and the efficacy of other lipophilic molecules. Well, what are essential oils? Lipophilic molecules. So in other words, we can use Copaiba to enhance the benefits of our other essential oils we use topically by improving their absorption through the layers of the skin, and then the benefits that we receive after they get into the body. And if we want to diffuse it, we can create a calm and relaxing environment as well. So the bottom line is that Copaiba, when it's used daily and on a regular basis, helps you live a longer, healthier life with greater periods of homeostasis. So I really appreciate the opportunity I've had to share with you. I look forward to meeting you and to partnering with you so that we can help improve the health of generations to come through doTERRA's amazing products. Thank you so much.
Please welcome to the stage Roseman University research scientist and assistant professor of biomedical sciences, Dr. Timothy Lee.
Never thought I could get the chance.
Hello. Today I'm going to share with you our research on the effects of copaiba versus CBD oils on neuronal signaling pathway. Very quickly, please allow me to share with you what I do professionally. I run a molecular imaging and proteomic labs at the Roseman University of Health Sciences. On a typical day at work, I tinker with ultra-fast lasers on a microscope system that I custom built. My associate, Dr. Yasuyo Urazaki, work on proteomic assays. So we use molecular imaging and proteomics to identify biomarkers for metabolic diseases and cancers. Since last year, we've been applying this technology to study the biological function of essential oils. The research that we presented to you on this very stage last year has now been published. In the journal Molecules. So in this study, we used proteomics to develop a physiological lie detector test to authenticate essential oils. This year, we used proteomics to study the effects of copaiba versus CBD oils on neuronal signaling pathway. As we all know, both copaiba and CBD oils might have the analgesic effects, but they might also have very different acting mechanisms. Because copaiba interact directly with the CB2 receptor. In contrast, CBD oils does not interact with either CB1 or CB2 receptors. So the question that we want to ask is how copaiba oils and CBD oils affect signaling activity within the neurons. So in this study, we used cultures of human neurons, and we treated them with copaiba and CBD oils and measured the signaling activity over time. But we had a big problem. Which CBD oils should we purchase and use for this study? Now, choosing copaiba oils is extremely easy. Because of the certified pure therapeutic grade, with guaranteed purity and quality of the oils. In contrast, there is no such standard for CBD oils. So we went to Amazon.com and we got thoroughly confused with the selections. Right? An average consumer would have a very difficult time to select the right CBD oils. Fortunately, we're not an average consumer. We happen to be the scientists who, together with doTERRA, developed a physiological lie detector test that we presented to you last year. Right? So we said, bring them on. Bring on the challenge. We bought 6 CBD oils from 6 different vendors. and we put them through the test. Now, as it turned out, only one CBD oil passed the test and exhibits strong biological activities. The other 5 CBD oils failed the test, had no biological activity, or extremely low biological activities. So we called the company. We went to their website to learn about the process by which they produce their CBD oils. And we learned that only one company sold us pure and unadulterated CBD oils that they collected right after CO2 extraction. The other 5 companies sold us adulterated oils that have been diluted with carrier oils and added with CBD isolates. So we chose the pure and unadulterated CBD oils that passed our test for this study. So how do we measure the signaling activity? Let's take a look at this signaling pathway, the PI3K, AKT, mTOR, which regulate neuronal growth, metabolism, and survival. To measure the signaling activity of this pathway, we measure the expression and phosphorylation level of 9 proteins which in the signaling cascade, as listed in this table. So here are some of the raw data that we collected. In blue are untreated control. In pink are treated for 30 minutes. And in green are treated for 24 hours. We found that Copaiba transiently increased AKT phosphorylations, which then returned to baseline level after 24 hours. In contrast, CBD oils steadily reduce the phosphorylation and expression level of AKT over the 24-hour period. Further downstream of AKT, we continue to observe opposite effects of Copaiba and CBD oils, where Copaiba transiently increased the phosphorylations of mTOR and P70S6K, which then returned to baseline level after 24 hours. In contrast, CBD oils steadily reduce the phosphorylation and expression level of AKT over the 24-hour period. So following the assessment of all 9 proteins within the signaling cascade, it became very clear that Copaiba upregulated in contrast, CBD oils downregulated the PI3K, AKT, mTOR signaling pathway. So we systematically apply proteomics to measure the expression and phosphorylation level of a diagnostic panels of 30 proteins, which allow us to evaluate the signaling activity of 11 signaling pathways in neurons. And we summarize our data here for your viewing. Red color indicate upregulations, blue color indicate a downregulations, compared to untreated control in white color. So as you can see, Copaiba consistently upregulated many signaling pathways in neurons. In contrast, CBD oil consistently downregulated many signaling pathways in neurons. So here is a summary of our finding that Copaiba oils increases neuronal signaling activity. In contrast, CBD oil decreases neuronal signaling activities. Copaiba induces short-term reversible responses, which is consistent with a direct interactions with neural receptors. In contrast, CBD oils induce long-term adaptive responses, which indicate an indirect interactions with neural receptors. Copaiba oils induce an anti-inflammatory response by upregulating the immunity and metabolism signaling pathway. In contrast, CBD oils induce resting states in neurons that are consistent with the anxiolytic effects. Okay. So we found that we anticipate that copaiba would have the strongest effects in microglial cells and lymphocytes. In contrast, CBD oil would have the strongest effects in neurons. So as you can see, copaiba and CBD oils might have the analgesic effects, but clearly they have very different acting mechanisms and targets. There was one observation that we found very interesting with copaiba oil, where in liver cells, we found that copaiba downregulated the PI3K, AKT-mTOR signaling pathway. However, in neuron, we found that copaiba upregulated the same signaling pathway. There is a logical explanation for this differential effect, because AKT isoform have both overlapping and distinctive functions. AKT1 regulate cell growth and migration. AKT2 regulate glucose metabolism, and AKT3 regulate neuronal development. Now, in liver cells was on top, AKT3 were completely absent. However, in neurons, AKT was a dominant isoform. So the difference in the composition of the AKT isoform was the reason why copaiba have differential effect on the same signaling pathway in liver compared to neuronal cells. But this observation indicates that the route of administration matters for copaiba. For example, aromatic diffusion, copaiba interact with the brain and lung tissues. For topical application, copaiba interact with the skin tissue, and for ingestion, copaiba interact with the GI tract and liver tissues. So it's very important that we know the effects of copaiba on different tissue types in order to optimize its uses. So we are developing a comprehensive library that describes the composition of AKT isoform in different tissue types. We're also developing an algorithm that can predict the effects of copaiba in different tissue types, and we are experimentally testing this algorithm. We anticipate that differential effects on different tissue types is not a property unique to copaiba, but should be applicable to other essential oils as well. So our library and our predictive algorithm would be critical in guiding the most optimal route of administration for essential oil. So what else we do for essential oil? We are developing a handheld spectrometer for this field assessment of essential oil crops, and an endoscope for real-time visualization of topical absorption of essential oils. I will sell data on this project at another time. But what I've been presenting to you is consistent with the theme of this year's convention and highlight the industry-academia interface. The collaboration between doTERRA and Rosemont University of Health Sciences seek to understand the molecular mechanism underlying the biological activity of essential oils. In the process, we develop and apply cutting-edge technology to further our investigations. And our findings would lead to rational designs of novel products that synergize essential oils, botanicals, nutraceuticals, and pharmaceuticals. Before I stop, I would like to acknowledge Dr. Yasuya Urizaki and Dr. Talbot for being the co-investigator on this project, Dr. Harry Rosenberg and Dr. Renee Kaufman, the co-founder of our university, for their support of biomedical research, And of course, this project would not be possible without the vision and the support of Dr. David Hill, Dr. Russia Oskotov, and the interaction with many dedicated and talented scientists at doTERRA, Dr. Cody Beaumont, Nicole Stevens, Alex DeBell, and Ryan Finch. I would like to acknowledge the institution that funded my research, and thank you so much for your attention.
Please welcome Director of United States Sales, Simone Lesu.
doTERRA family, how we doing? All right. Yes. Thank you so much. Listen, guys, my job is very simple. I'm going to intro the main entertainment for today. Yes. Now listen, last year, our entertainer, we had, what's his name? Hugh, I'm just joking. We loved him. Hugh Jackman. Ooh, I just confused myself. Hugh Jackman, very inspirational, very motivational. He even said that he loves doTERRA products. And in his exact words, he said that they had a vaporizer right next to his bed. You remember that? We learned that he was talking about a diffuser, but we brought him off stage and we said, Hugh, we love that you love our products, but here you have to say diffusing because vaping is a little bit different, right? Doesn't mean the same. So for our entertainer today, we had to make sure that we had the right grammar. See what I did there? All right. Now this guy, he doesn't need an introduction. He's taken the music world by storm. Debut album, 2 singles that climbed to the top 10 faster than I don't know who, right? He followed that up with a second album, triple platinum smash hit, Nah, honey, I'm good. You guys know that song. Listen, Andy Grammer had a tour in Sacramento last night. Flew in after the tour, landed here super late, woke up super early for his sound check. After this, he's going to another tour. We want to make sure that this is the best crowd he has all tour, okay? Now, Emily called me and said, Simone, can we find an artist that can open up to warm up the crowd? I said, I don't know, I'll look. What I didn't tell Emily is that we found an artist. I need everybody to get to their seats. Stand up, please. DJ, hit the music. Oh yes, here we go. doTERRA, here we go. Let's go. Let me jump up to the mic and let me break it down. The Beehive staple, this is our state now. 30,000 plus, it's like a giant diffuser. Walk around the streets if you need me to prove it. Use it all kind of ways. Inhale, exhale, drink or spray. Topical use, but don't forget to dilute it. Bottom of the feet, colorful socks, Dr. Seuss. When it comes to these oils, we the best. Don't check me, you can check the test. Product first, always leading with the heart. When it comes to being pure, man, we different from the rest. Change the world, come join our team. One drop, one person, one community. Change the world, come join our team. One drop, one person, one community. Now when I say do, you say Terra, do. When I say do, you say Terra, do. doTERRA. Everybody just wave in the air. Everybody jibbing everywhere. Let them know, oh yeah. Andy Grammer's here. Now when I say Andy, you say Grammer. Andy. When I say Andy, you say Grammer. Andy. doTERRA, please help me welcome to the stage. Multi-platinum award-winning, Dancing with the Stars, our boy, our guy, Andy Grammer.
That was spectacular. How you doing? What's up? I was backstage and I was asking, so like, what do I call? Do you have like a cool name? I don't know, like what do you call doTERRA people? And someone goes like wealth advocates? I was like, yeah, like a cool, like sexy name. And they're like, oil educator? I was like, no. I don't have one. Oilies is like not right. But we are super psyched to be here. My wife is very, very excited. She has oils everywhere, all over her house. And she consistently goes to bed earlier than I do, and she's always like trying to get me to go to sleep. So I'll be like, all right, I'll be up in a little bit. And she's like, just take some of this Serenity and like shut up. We're gonna sing some songs with you. Genuinely, we love your oils. That's my bass player, Zach. His wife is here. She's gold. We're like in. It's really cool. So we'll get this started with a song called Good to Be Alive. It feels really good in here. So here we go. Hey! Oh, no. See, I've been grinding so long, been trying this shit for years. And I got nothing to show, just climbing this rope right here. But if there's a man upstairs, he kept bringing me rain. I've been sending up prayers, something's changed. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life now. My dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now. Whoa. Good to be alive right about now. Good to be alive right about now. Yo, hallelujah, let that bass move you. Say yeah. It's good to be alive right about now. I was dead in the water, nobody wanted me. Yeah, I was old news, I went cold as cold could be. So cold, but I kept going on cold trying to make that fire burn. Sometimes you gotta get scarred, get what you deserve. I kept moving on, and now I'm moving on. Damn, I'm feeling blessed with all this love. I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life now. My dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. Good to be alive right about now. About now. Whoa, I almost can't. Can I handle it? Say I could get used to this. No, I almost can't. Can I handle it? Say I could get used to this. And I think I finally found my yeah. Yes. This next one we're going to play is a song that I wrote. I know you were all in the business of, if you're in a self-starter situation, you just have to believe before anybody else believes, which is not an easy thing to do. I always say, like, you have to like go after it like it's already big, but nobody cares, which is a hard thing to do. And so I wrote this next song. I street performed for about 4 years, which is a ridiculous way to get started. You know, when all your friends are getting their jobs
and they call you at midday, and you're sitting next to literally like a monkey that takes money from people. So I wrote this next one after a full day of 0 tips. I'd been out there, I packed my mom's minivan up with all the stuff, drove out to Santa Monica Promenade, unloaded it all, walked all the way down, set up my rug, got all my stuff, and then I played for like 9 hours, and everybody just walked by and didn't care for like 9 hours. That's a very long time for no one to care, or even acknowledge you. And so I was heading home with all my stuff, heading just like genuinely wondering, what did I just do? Like, what happened? I know that I tried for a very long time and nobody cared. And true story, I was carrying my thing and I just looked up at the sky. This was like an important moment for me. And I was like, your move! Like, I'm literally never gonna leave, so your call. Like, I'll be back tomorrow and for the rest of ever, so you might as well like make this a little bit easier because I'm never leaving, like ever. It's never gonna happen. So I went home and I wrote myself a little pick-me-up, and it's a song called Keep Your Head Up, and there's some O's and A's. If you know it, it would make me very happy if you sing it. Okay. Also, I'm like stressed about making sure everybody gets eye time, so it's your turn. Whoa! Whoa, no. I've been waiting on the sunset, bills on my mindset. I can't deny it, getting higher than my income, breadcrumb. I've been trying to survive, and know that the sun gets right around sunset helps me to realize this is just a journey. Drop your worries, you are gonna turn out fine. Whoa, you turn out fine. Fine. Whoa, you turn out fine. But you gotta keep your head up. Oh, you can let your head down. Hey. You gotta keep your head up. Oh, you let your head down. Hey. I know it's hard. Though it's hard to remember sometimes. You gotta keep your head up. Oh, you let your head down. Yeah. I got my hands in my pockets, kicking these rocks. It's kinda hard to watch this go by. I'm buying into skeptics mess with the confidence in my eyes. Seeing all the angles, thoughts get tangled. I start to compromise my life and my purpose. Is it all worth it? Am I gonna turn out fine? Whoa, you turn out fine. Turn fine. Whoa, you turn out fine. Go. But you gotta keep your head on. Oh, you let your head down. Keep your head up, oh, you let your head down, hey. Now I know it's hard, no, it's hard to remember sometimes. You gotta keep your head up, oh, you let your head down, yeah. Now only rainbows after rain, the sun will always come again, and it's a circle again. It comes around again. Said only rainbows after rain, the sun will always come again, and it's a circle again. Comes around, but you gotta keep your head up. Oh, you let your head down. Hey, you gotta keep your head up. Oh, you let your head down. Hey, I know it's hard. No, it's hard to remember sometimes. You gotta keep your head up. Oh, you let your head down. All right, let me hear if you're with me real quick. Just some O's and some A's. Just me and you. But you gotta keep your head up, and you can let your head down. Said you gotta keep your head up, and you can let your head down. See, now I know it's hard. No, it's hard to remember sometimes. You gotta keep your head up, and you can let your head down. There's like one more. The O kind of fits with dough. So give me like head up, dough. You can let your head down, terror. You gotta keep your head up, and you can let your head down. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to remember sometimes. You gotta keep your head up. There's real good vibes in here, everybody. We got one more for you. Like I said, this company is genuinely close to us. My wife loves it. My bass player's wife, she's like doing her thing. She's over here. Very, very. It just happened to work. Like she was coming anyway when we got the call. So this is a really sweet thing for us to be here. The last thing that I want to leave you with is, I've been saying this at the end of all my shows, that there's something really, what I'm getting from being around you is that you're trying to be of service to other people. And that's super important. And a lot of times when you're trying to be of service to someone else, you almost think like it should be easier because you're doing a good thing, but it's not. It's still like super hard and brutal and difficult. And what we need is people that are willing to go the extra mile and not give up in the face of great difficulty while trying to be of service to others. That's huge. So, my latest song is a song called Don't Give Up on Me. And I wish you all the strength to not give up when things get really hard. It's like, it's not a new idea, but it's like part of being a human is that you got to push through when life gets hard. And all I can say is the energy in this room feels like you guys are doing really, really good things. So keep pushing. I love you. And don't give up. Hold on one second real quick. Also, like I said, your gold member, I don't know if that's the right name, you're oily. Just kidding. She has a son whose birthday it is today. His name's Moses. Can we sing Moses happy birthday real quick? Moses, come here, buddy. Come here. Can you go on my shoulders?
All right.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Moses. Yes. Thank you so, so much. My oilies. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so, so much.
All right, doTERRA. Andy Grammer, one last round of applause. Andy Grammer, we love you. Thank you so much. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And man, did we finish strong. We'll see you guys back here at 2 o'clock. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
The meaning of the word happiness, may you always lead from the beating in your chest.